Hello everyone, how are you all? Most welcome to today's session. This session is based on the chapter 1 itself, and this class will be the 10th class history that the rise of nationalism in Europe. This chapter, since a lengthy chapter, I have divided into 3 parts. The first video I have taught already. This is that introductory part, that one which I have connected, two very important questions. You need to prepare according to that questions, okay? And that 2 questions likely to come in the board examination. And the remaining part of the chapter I will be discussing today. Thereafter we will talk or we will discuss the last video or last class. With that we will finish the chapter, and this will be the very interesting part of the chapter, where very important parts, also important topics also we are going to discuss in this video. Once again, the chapter is on the class 10th history, and the chapter is rise of nationalism in Europe. The concept of nationalism already in the first video I have talked. Still then I want to highlight little bit. Nationalism word is very philosophical word. The Islamic word is a philosophical word which has a deepest meaning. Nationalism means a spirit of nation, a spirit of nation, a spirit of democracy, the spirit of liberty, equality is connected to the very word nationalism. It is not a dictatorship or a monarchism. It is rather nationalism means liberty, equality, freedom, and the nation which treats everyone, every individual equally. That is the meaning of nationalism. All nations joined for nation state. Yeah, whole of Europe, they wanted to make whole nations as nation states or nationalism, as we have discussed in the early history of France Revolution in 1789. Louis XVI was the monarch, and he was having monarchism. That means there were many or multinational dynasties were ruling. Multinational dynasty means different kings, different monarchs, different emperors were ruling whole of Europe, and the whole of Europe was not an independent states, or was not accepted as a nation. That's why different parts were being ruled by the kings and the queens, and the citizens were the subject of the kings and the monarchs or monarch. That's what the concept is all behind of this chapter. The concept of nationalism, that means in whole of Europe, people wanted no more monarchism, rather they wanted all nations joined for nation states, or they want to claim, or they want to have a nationalism or nation states, a nations which should have liberty, equality, and fraternity, and their own, they will be the ruler and they will be ruled. Such a type of nation, the whole of Europe, people of whole of Europe wanted. No more multinational dynasty, no more multinational dynasty. Multinational dynasty, the kings, the emperors, and the rulers were ruling the different parts of the European countries, or European that time small kingdoms were captured and ruled by the different multinational dynasty. The meaning of dynasty I have told. Still I will tell. Dynasty means the kings coming from the same family or same clan is called dynasty. The kings ruling from the same family is called dynasty. In Hindi, in Indian context, you may be knowing Hindi meaning of dynasty is Rajvansha. the coming the clans or the groups, the community of the people or the family of the people coming from the same family and ruling the nation is called dynasty. Okay, nationalism came into being in 19th century, the end of 18th century and the beginning of 19th century. A spirit of an idea of nationalism is emerging, or an idea of nationalism is giving or coming out or emerging. That's that this sentence mean. Being in 19th century, nationalism, the spirit of nationalism is slowly emerging. And in 1789 French Revolution, Louis XVI was the powerful monarch or powerful king, and whole of Europe was, so to say, ruled or controlled by Louis XVI. That was accepted, or that was learned in the history of the, or in the world history we come to know. By 1789 French Revolution takes place. What is that French Revolution takes place? When the whole of Europe was in the hands of Louis XVI and under the monarchism, or their monarch, he was a monarch, he was a great king, he was controlled, and there were manorial system, then feudalism, and this lot of corrupted works were going on. That's what people wanted, a revolution. People wanted to protest. People want to attack and demolish and destroy the concept of dynasty, or destroy the so-called monarchism. That's why, my dear students, thereafter in 1789 French Revolution started, and the peoples, when they got all together an idea of nation spirit, or they want their freedom, liberty, fraternity, and was one nation, one people. That's what the concept slowly they got, and they had a revolution against Louis XVI, who was very powerful monarch, and under his monarchism there were feudal system, serfdom, and manorial dues. These terms are very important. I think I will take another class to explain what is actually feudalism, serfdom, manorial dues. Or these words one after the other I will be talking in the last video. Please don't miss to watch my class. Then slowly in the whole Europe, when the multinational dynasties were ruling, they wanted to make the whole of Europe as one nation. Therefore, an idea came, la patrie, and that is fatherland, and le citizen. That means that this Latin phrase is called la patrie, means the fatherland. The nation is the God has blessed a nation which looks everyone equally, but like manpower is capturing and ruling according to their convenience. That is what things should be clear. Idea of la patrie, the fatherland, and la citizen, the citizens. All citizens are equal, and the fatherland, the God has given the God has given the land, which has right for everyone, in which all can live happily, equally, with liberty and freedom. That is the concept of la patrie and fatherland, and la citizen. The citizens are equal. That the concept of la patrie and la citizen. United. These all citizens united community. They wanted to be a united community, a community of the people, all of Europe, the nations everywhere in the European context. They want to make a united community, and then they would like to enjoy equal rights under the constitution. That is their objective. That is the concept and objective of the people of the Europe. And this concept emerged. This ideology started in first and foremost in European countries. in European continent, so to say. That's what they want to have a nation in which they should enjoy equal right and responsibility and under a constitution. They should have a constitution. What is constitution actually? A constitution is a written rules and norms which is benefiting to everyone. Or a constitution is a book of laws which is working as a torchlight for every nations or every citizen or every kingdom. That is the constitution. Active citizens and passive citizen. One concept you will be knowing when you read the world history. Active citizen, or those who are every common citizen should have a right to vote. In Indian context, universal adult franchise. Everybody must have active citizen. That means everybody must have equal right, political right, which is a voting right. They have right to choose their representative. That is called active citizen. French armies moved to all over Europe. During the period of even 1789, when French was powerful in the concept of dynasty, in the concept of kings and monarchs, were ruling whole of European continent. Small kings, small kingdoms were independent, ruled by the kings and monarchs. That time, the great Napoleon Bonaparte, came as a pioneer to destroy such a type of corruption. He established it. Though Napoleon Bonaparte was a dictator, is a dictator, a ruler, one-man ruler, but he established in whole of Europe a democratic value. Please, my dear students, don't misunderstand. Understand properly. Napoleon Bonaparte the Great was not favor of democratic values. He established democratic values in the whole of Europe, but he was not favor of democracy. He did not establish democracy, but he implemented value of democracy. He was a dictator. He is a ruler. He was a ruler, so to say, or he was a king like monarch like, or dictator like. He was a dictator who ruled, establishing all the values that are pertaining, that are concerned to the democratic values. The equal rights. Here, the features I have written in features of the Napoleonic Code 1804. You need to keep in mind. And what the 1804 is, Napoleonic Code is talking about equality before the laws. All must be equal before the laws. And then second point, abolition of feudalism. No feudalism shall be there in whole of Europe. What is the meaning of feudalism actually, my dear student? The nobles, the kings, they enjoyed the power of having lands, and then they appointed the servants. Even nobles, they gave some land to the peasants, and they collected the cultivation, the harvest they cultivated. The poor peasants worked for the nobles and kings. That is the concept of feudalism. See, abolition of feudalism. Nobody is subjected to anyone. But in the concept of monarchism, concept of kings, concept of nobles, in whole of France or Europe, there were kings and nobles who enjoyed the power and positions and all the benefits, and they enjoyed out of the labor of the peasants. They corrupted the common peasants, and out of the work of the peasants, they enjoyed. That is why this Napoleon the Bonaparte, in his code 1804, says that abolition of, that is, destroy the feudalism. Then property right. Everybody should have a freedom to have their own property. That was restricted, and he brought the drastic change, a great change he brought in the history of the world. Secular governments. Secular government, he need to have a government which is very, very independent government, which is in the government which are in which all are equal and in which all enjoy equal rights, responsibility and duties. That the concept of or features of Napoleonic Code of 1804, my dear student. So I jumped from here to here anyway. Just I wanted to highlight this idea. That's why I jumped here. My dear student, French armies moved to all over Europe, spreading the spirit of nationalism. This spreading the spirit of nationalism. Though he was autocratic, though he was a dictator, who Napoleon Bonaparte was a dictator, autocratic, a ruler, is a great ruler, not minding to democracy, but he established a value of nationalism, a value of nationalism or democracy. Such a person, he sent his French armies. French armies moved all over European countries or European states to spread the spirit of nationalism. The spirit of nationalism was not there when in whole of Europe came the idea of La Patrie and Le Citoyen, the idea of fatherland and nation and liberty, citizen, constitution, all things emerged. When it emerged, Napoleon Bonaparte, he sent his army whole of European states or European countries to spread the spirit of nationalism. And Napoleon, as monarch, executed the idea of democratic values mentioned in the Civil Code of 1804. See, great Napoleon Bonaparte, how he sent his army, soldiers all over the European countries, and then he wanted to establish one idea of democratic values. But he was in favor of democracy. That means he did not like democracy, but he established, being an autocratic, being a monarch, he established the value of democracy. He established the value of nationalism in whole of Europe. That's why he sent all his armies to the nook and corner, every states of the European continents or European countries. Okay, that's all, my dear. The Civil Code of 1804 already. This is very important in the exam. Or write the feature of the Civil Code of Napoleon Bonaparte. One question is sure 3 mark or 5 mark question. Bring out the features of Napoleonic Code 1804. One question 100%. And this is what points you need to note down and learn it by heart. And the concept of a monarch, great monarch, like Louis XVI. Louis XVI also was a monarch in great France. That time, even Duke Metternich has rightly said that whenever some changes take place in France, whole of Europe is experienced. Or he says, when France sneezes, whole of Europe gets cold. That means this phrase is whatever changes or whatever new things that happens in France, especially in France, then whole of Europe it spreads. That is the meaning. It spreads. Or whole of Europe, or all the people of whole of Europe experiences the idea, the new things that is established or that happens in France particularly. That is the idea that Duke Metternich he had said this concept. So abolished feudalism and serfdom and manorial duty. Abolish, destroy the feudalism, so-called concept of nobles and the workers or peasants. Peasants were just given little for their survival, little land, and then whole of lands were cultivated by the peasants, and the harvest was enjoyed by the nobles. That is the meaning of feudalism. Or feudalism, the nobles enjoyed the control of everything out of the hard work of the peasants, and this is what the concept of feudalism. Serfdom, kings and nobles were keeping as workers, and the workers were subjugated. The workers were used mercilessly. That is the meaning of serfdom. The workers were used to, and the workers were simply corrupted, and they were subjugated, and they were used for doing work for the kings and nobles. And manorial dues, this concept I will be talking you in the next video detail. What is serfdom, what is manorial due. Then see, aristocracy, liberalist, middle class joined in the movement. New conservatives joined. See, my dear student, now when this concept came in whole of Europe, so what is the concept? Concept of nationalism, democracy, liberty, equality, freedom. That concept, when whole of Europe gets that time, these are the people slowly joining with that concept, opting for the great value, la patria and la citia. This concept they also promoted, and they also wanted to have it. This who are those? Aristocracy, the rich people, the rich landlords, the rich nobles. They also slowly understood, yes, nationalism is wanted. Yes, democratic value is wanted in whole of Europe. Yes, the nationalism must be established in whole of Europe. That's why these people also slowly understood. Being nobles, being aristocrats, they also slowly supported the spirit of nationalism. Liberties, liberalists, sorry, not liberties, liberalist, one group of people, those who wanted to bring a change, or those who wanted to have a change in the nation, or those who wanted to bring a nation states, so for liberty, fraternity, equality. This type of people, liberalist, a group of people, they also joined for the same spirit of la patria and la citia. And then middle class people also, the people those were middle class, they came as many people joined. Middle class families also people supported to the concept of nationalism that emerged in whole of Europe. They joined in the movement. New conservatives joined. Even conservatives were actually kings. Don't misunderstand. This aristocracy means, aristocrats means rich people, very rich people. And what is the new conservatives? New conservatives are the kings' families, the conservative kings, the old understanding people. Those were sitting in the royal thrones. These are and having the old concept of ruling the nations, or ruling the nation, ruling the dynasties. These people also slowly changed. Those were kings, nobles, aristocrats, and conservative people, the old people. Slowly everybody changing his mind, and then joining the concept called nationalism. This is the thing you need to keep in mind, my dear children. Aristocracy, liberalism, middle class, and the new conservative people. Who are these new conservative people? The old conservatives are the new conservative people. Old conservatives are those are sitting on the throne and ruling the dynasties. The kings, they were the old conservatives. But the new conservatives, the nobles, the kings, some new kings, they understood, yes, that the right time has come to bring a change, about in the whole of Europe. That's what these people are new conservative people also joined, all together joining. Whole nation is joining to bring, starting with Napoleon, the Bonaparte, great Napoleon Bonaparte, along with his armies and whole people, aristocracy, liberalists, middle class, and the conservatives, all people joined for one truth, the truth of liberalism, the truth of nationalism, and to establish democracy in all of Europe. That time, my dear student, in beginning of 17th century, 18th century, in whole of Europe, the nation was not liberated. The states that they were everywhere they were enjoying the multinational dynasties. That means there were small dynasties, small kings, small kingdom. They were their own way ruling and extracting money or corrupting the people, and they were enjoying life. That's what in whole of Europe it was going, and people sensed, and they wanted, or they want to have a change. They wanted to have a change, and that change is nothing but establishing democracy, equality, liberty, and have the nation, one nation in which all people are equal, all citizens are treated equally, and all must receive their right dues. All must get their right dues. That's what the question of nationalism. That's the value of nationalism. Then Poland, France, Italy, and Germany believe that God's intention to be a natural society, a society where the father nation, God's intention, the God, the Father, fatherland, the God, the Father is looking, and his intention is that natural society, one society in which everybody must be treated equally. That is called natural society. What is natural society? What is the intention of God that people understood actually in whole of Europe? One question can be generated. Bring out what the ideology of the God's ideology, or what the concept of God that people actualize or realize, and what changes people wanted to have in whole of Europe. Another question can bring out the features of Napoleonic Code of 1804. Another question can be, or what is the concept of or notion of the la patrie or les citoyen? What is the concept described? 3 marks. And what was happening in whole of Europe? Multinational dynasties were ruling. What was going on during the period of 17th century or 18th century? And in which period people sensed that they want to have a nationalism, a democratic value where people must be treated equally. That is in the end of the 18th century and 19th century. People sensed, people wanted to have the nation state. That spirit emerges. My dear student, I think things are getting clear. Don't miss my class. Though some people may be having this class matters nothing to me. No, it matters a lot. And each word I am talking and elaborately I am explaining. You may be having, there are so many VVIPs, people giving classes with a smart board and the latest modules, everything they are using, and they may be reading in Hindi, speaking, underlining everything. Of course they are doing, but in a small way. This is the detail that I am giving. And the last 15 years of my experience, whatever questions, whatever terminology I am talking, very, very important. You need to get digested. You need to learn it by heart. You need to understand properly. And that's what today I generated some question. I told also I am using a small board. I am not able to write before, and I am just designing the lessons, and I am giving a class. Please watch it, enjoy the class, and learn out of my class. And then you need to like my class also and share my class to your friends. All the hard word meanings and all the concept. And this chapter question answer, this video 2, chapter number 1, class 10, social science, history, rise of nationalism. These answers, all detailed hard word meanings are given in the below given description box. and then you need to like, please have a courtesy to like and share my channel, and then you need to subscribe my channel also. Thank you so much. I am a bit serious when I am giving classes, and you may be learning also. This sir is very serious. He's not telling any jokes. Yeah, when a jokes comes, I may share jokes. But when such an important class, I am bit serious. Bit serious. My objective is my student must learn. My objective is my student must learn. My student must be benefited, and student must write exam well and get good marks. That is my objective, my dear student. Thank you so much for watching my channel. Stay tuned. Bye bye. We'll see in the next class.